Warning: this podcast may contain graphic and triggering content. Please listen at your own risk. Each individual struggle is different, and everyone's recovery and healing journey is different. Please reach out to a certified medical professional if you need help. Welcome to episode 31 of Stomp the Stigma, the podcast aimed to fight the stigma surrounding mental health through education, awareness, experiences, stories, resources, and the vulnerable truth. Joining me to stomp the stigma today is somebody that would like to remain anonymous in terms of her name, but she runs an Instagram page called She's Got Quiet BPD, and she's here to talk about her journey and her struggles with quiet BPD as well as complex PTSD. We get to dig into how she internalizes her emotions and attacks her own self through that quiet BPD. And then we also share and compare some stories and symptoms that we both have with BPD. I haven't met many other people that struggle in the same way that I do, so I was super excited to talk to her about what she goes through and see if our stories are similar. So we get into some of our symptoms and the assumptions and stigmas that people associate with BPD, as well as her coping mechanisms. This episode will shed a little bit of light on what it's like to live with BPD for those of you that don't know. I know this is one of those mental health conditions that doesn't get talked about very much. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I would love to have her back on again so we can compare even more stories. I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, I'm so excited to meet you.
I guess to start off, I really want to thank you for joining me.
I want to say thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I just kind of stumbled across your page on Instagram, and I haven't met very many people that have BPD as well. So I'm super excited to hear kind of your story and your journey and compare some stories.
Yeah. It's awesome because I haven't really heard of too many people before that have BPD before I joined Instagram with my page and really started looking around, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, there's a huge community of people.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about your story really or your journey, but you have quiet BPD and CPTSD, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And it's good to finally know that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, well, first of all, a lot of people have never heard of BPD to begin with, let alone quiet BPD. And PTSD you hear about in like veterans and things like that, but not in the average person.
Yeah.
So can you explain for the people listening kind of what quiet BPD is and CPTSD compared to, I guess, BPD?
Yeah, so quiet BPD is, I think it means you have all the symptoms of BPD in general, but you just deal with it all internally. Like, my mood swings, I don't usually take out on people. It's really rare that I take it out on people. I usually just take it out on myself, and I split on myself a lot. Everything just, it sounds really narcissistic and selfish, but I really just attack me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so because I don't want to harm any of my loved ones or anybody that I come across, and I think my BPD just solely just attacks everything internally. With CPTSD, I have experienced sexual abuse from the ages of 5 to 6 and sexual harassment until I was 18. So I think that has a lot to do with it. It's the environment that I was raised in was very rough.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's kind of hard for me to describe it, honestly, without saying I think it's just a lot of fucked up shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So do you kind of have like flashbacks to those traumatic events? Or how does that work for you, the PTSD part?
Yeah, well, I will actually disassociate into an entire memory that's happened in the past, and it's like I'm it's like I'm in it and like it's happening.
Wow.
But I don't say anything about it. I think that's my quiet BPD kicking in. And so I'm sitting there in the moment, and I'm not conscious of anything around me. I just feel like I'm in those moments of the past that really do trigger me. Like, for example, I'm from Seattle, Washington. So when I was in downtown, when I was there at the time, I was waiting for the train because we have a little subway system we call the light rail. And so when I was waiting for the train, I didn't even see my train come by. It came by twice. And all I could feel was rage because I was thinking about something else in the past. And I kind of like came to, it's kind of like, I call them blackouts because I really do think that they're blackouts
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not conscious about anything around me. And so all I could feel was my fist was balled up. I just stood still in one position, and I had missed 2 trains. Come to find out, I had just caught myself. I was literally thinking about pain from my past, and it felt like I was a little girl again, right there standing at that train station.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So does that happen to you often? Like, does that affect you kind of on a daily basis?
It does. You know what? Thank you for asking that because it really does. I found out like I would do that a lot at work when I was working, like 9 to 5s or working part time and shirt stores and all that. It would happen a lot.
And does the time that you black out for, like the length of time, does that change?
Yeah, I think it varies. There was one time when I was in it for like 10 minutes
Wow.
because my friend had been talking to me and she was like, I've been talking to you for 10 minutes. Like, are you okay? And I was like, I was not even here.
Wow.
I really was not even here. And yeah.
Wow. Does that freak you out? I feel like that would freak me out
It does
sometimes.
freak me out a little. Yeah, it does freak me out a little bit now that I know it's a combination of BPD and CPTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, but it still does freak me out on occasions because, I can be, it can happen anywhere at any time.
Mm-hmm. And your BPD, you kind of internalize everything. When you say that
Yeah.
you kind of attack yourself, like physically or like mentally, how does that manifest itself for you?
So for me, it's mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Um, it's rare nowadays that I self harm, but it really does stem from emotionally and mentally. My BPD throws so much at me mentally. Like it'll talk so much mess to me and tell me every little thing I do is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so violent in speech,
Wow.
and it's loud.
Yeah.
And I can be sitting somewhere and nobody can know that that's actually what's going on in my head, you know?
Yeah.
Because with quiet BPD, everybody thinks that, you're normal, you're high functioning. I'm barely functioning, so I don't really know where people get that, but yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the kind of stereotype is that we kind of put on a smile, put on a face for everyone else.
Yeah.
So when you're kind of attacking yourself, does that show on your face? Has anyone told you that before? Like, can you tell when that's
Yeah,
happening?
sometimes it will.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't. It really depends on, I think, the memory that I'm in.
Yeah.
Like how extreme it is.
That is so interesting. Now
Yeah,
I'm
it really is.
questioning my own questioning my own BPD, whether it's like more internal. I think it's like both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember kind of like the beginning when you first started realizing that you were having these mental health concerns? Like when that first started for you?
Yeah, so I didn't know it was BPD at the time.
Yeah.
When I was about, I think, 8 or 9,
Yeah.
I started noticing that one, would keep a lot of things in, but, sorry, I just completely blanked out, sorry.
That's okay.
that right there. I would do that right there. But I realized I was numbing myself from the sexual abuse that I had endured because I remember somebody saying something about molestation.
Wow.
And I felt tears down my face.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why. I didn't know why that word triggered me so much, but I knew the definition. I just had numbed myself to the point of I didn't experience it.
Wow. Did it take
Yeah.
you a long time to get kind of diagnosed?
Oh, it took a long time. It took a really long time.
Yeah.
They said it was depression at first.
Yeah.
Said it was anxiety at first. My mom has always tried to tell me that I was bipolar. So she's like unofficially diagnosed me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's tried to tell mental health professionals whenever I would seek help that I am bipolar. So, and what sucks is when you're a kid, a lot of the therapists that I saw, they would mostly believe my mom.
Oh,
They
wow.
wouldn't really allow me to have a voice.
I think that's a big misconception. When a lot of people hear that you have BPD, they just assume that you're bipolar, and it's totally different.
So many people do. Yeah. Yeah.
People hear personality disorder, and it's just automatically associated with being bipolar, which I really don't like. Because I don't think that I'm bipolar at all. I mean, there's obviously similarities,
Yeah.
but yeah, that bothers me a lot.
And they also associate personality disorders with that one movie that I keep forgetting the name of, but I've watched a million times.
Yeah.
The name of that. There's a movie because it was based on a book of this woman who actually experienced it. Maybe one of the listeners will know, and they'll start screaming as soon as they hear. Okay. Which I don't know why I'm not using Google Foo. Easily look that up. Girl Interrupted. They always associate BPD with Girl Interrupted. And I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
It's definitely triggering. I can tell you that. But everybody associates it with Girl Interrupted.
Yeah, I'm curious what they kind of portray BPD as. That'll be interesting.
Also, it was kind of weird because like the main character, she didn't strike me as somebody that had BPD.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think she was honestly just depressed, like heavily depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't relate to her as far as BPD went, you know.
Oh, interesting.
But at the same time, everybody's BPD is different, so
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there ever a time for you when you were kind of like ashamed of it or embarrassed of it and just kept it all to yourself? Or is it still kind of like that? Like, do you share that with other people very often?
I don't share that with a lot of people outside of Instagram, outside of our community.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't have a lot of knowledge on BPD, or they already have some sort of, preconceived notion about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't want to educate them all the time. And it sucks to say, but I live it every day.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have the energy to carry that or to create space for that a lot of times.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think a lot of people, they don't know how to handle that information. Like they'll say that they're there for you and they want to support you, but as soon as you tell them or give them all of this heavy information, then it's too much and they don't want anything to do with it. And so it's not something that you
if it's outside of the scope of depression or anxiety,
yeah,
I can agree with you on that. I really do agree with you on that. It's really hard for me to tell other people just because I know they won't fully understand. If they want to understand, like, I applaud them, but in that case, I will tell them that if you could please just Google it in the moment, because it could be just too triggering for me to even describe.
Yeah. And it's not it's not like your whole identity either. It's not like I meet somebody and I'm like, hey, I'm Alana and I have BPD. Like, it's not something you just throw out there when you're meeting somebody. But at the same time, I'm not.
Yeah, because as soon as you throw that out, oh, they look at you so weird. And it's like, I was the same person 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. And I'm not embarrassed to talk about it or ashamed to talk about it. It's just people associate that with like your entire identity as soon as you put it out there.
Yeah, they definitely do. Or they tell you, you can't possibly have quiet BPD. That's not a thing. Or, you know, I've never seen you do anything.
Yeah.
That's BPD related. And I'm like, well, because I have quiet BPD, so everything is eternal. Yeah, that would make sense. That's the point. Quiet BPD, you know?
Yeah, people...
You can't see it, but I can.
Yes. People look at me and they're like, oh, you're so outgoing, you're so happy all the time. Like, there's no way you can have depression or BPD or be struggling mentally. I'm like, yep.
Like, yeah, here I am. Yeah. People say that about me too. They're like, you are too chill.
Exactly.
To have anything wrong with you. And I was like, well, okay.
Yep. This is so nice to talk to somebody that, like, fully understands.
Yeah, it is so enlightening. And it is such a relief to talk about. Because, you know, we carry this weight every day. Yeah. And we can't really talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the same.
But it's good to do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Was there kind of a low point for you in your journey when you realized that you needed help, or kind of a turning point when you decided that you were gonna take control and like not let it or not let your illnesses kind of define you?
Yeah, actually, it was last year. Last year. Because I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't have a name to it yet.
Yeah.
But I knew something was there, and I really wanted to explore what it was, because the suicidal ideations just got louder. I was so depressed. I didn't want to leave the house. I mean, we were in the pandemic anyway, which was, I mean, pretty awesome for my depression, because she was like, you're not going anywhere anyway, so, I mean, what's the point? But it was to the point where I didn't even want to go to the store. I would have groceries delivered to my house, because it was so hard for me to get up. Every time I would get up, the intrusive thoughts just came back tenfold. And it was to the point where I was even feeling physical pain sometimes, like in my stomach.
Oh, wow.
And I would actually get migraines too, because it was just, it's so much going on at once. It's not even just intrusive thoughts. It's me splitting on myself. It's mood swings. It's a lot happening at one time.
Yeah, I used to get migraines all the time, to the point where as soon as I got one, I had to go to sleep. Otherwise, I would throw up.
Yeah.
And light affected me. Noise affected me. Like, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I would get so overstimulated with everything. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, lights and all that. Like, you know, the TV could be too loud. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah. And I think that was just my turning point for me, in that I really need to get some help. And what sucked was that I was trying to get some help, and again, they were trying to misdiagnose me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I know I don't have bipolar. This woman actually tried to diagnose me on the phone with our initial meeting, which was crazy to me. I was like, I have never seen that in a therapist before. Like,
yeah, how can you even do that?
And this is what she said. This is exactly what she said to me. She said, I've had 26 years of experience, so I know what I'm talking about. She said, you probably have schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, and bipolar disorder. I said, I don't feel any of those.
Oh, like, my gosh.
I really don't feel any of those. and I'm trying to tell you I don't feel any of those. So,
Wow.
and I was like, what makes you think it's not BPD? And she said, well, because you're not sleeping. And I was like, well, people with BPD, they have sleep problems too.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind kind of played a trick on me, and it was like, well, maybe you are bipolar. Oh my God, maybe you are schizophrenic. Maybe you do have multiple personality disorder. But I was like, I don't talk to numerous people. I don't think there's numerous people living within me. Everything that happens to me happens at a much faster rate.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think I'm schizophrenic. So
Wow. So you weren't diagnosed with BPD until quite recently then?
yeah, it was last year that I was diagnosed. But I've had therapists this year try and, like diagnose me again, saying, it can't possibly be BPD because of this, this, this. And I'm like, no, I know it's BPD. I'm just trying to get help from
Oh,
you.
wow.
Like that's it.
Yeah. So when
And
you
I think
were
it's
diagnosed, was there like this sense of relief knowing, like actually knowing what it was and not kind of wondering and
oh my
having
God, yeah.
people label you in the wrong ways?
Yeah. It was it was awesome to finally know
Yeah.
that it was BPD. When I finally knew and I finally got my diagnosis, I went on the internet and I looked at every single article I could find. It's just, I was looking at every single symptom and reading other people's stories, the few that I found. And sure enough, I matched with all of it.
Wow.
And I felt such a relief that I could relate.
Yeah.
That I finally had a name to what was going on. Because before then, I thought I was just a horrible person. I
Yeah.
thought I was a terrible person for acting in the ways that I did when I was a kid and moving on into middle school and high school. And
Yeah, I definitely get that. There was such a relief. I remember reading articles with other people describing what they've been through, and I was like, wow, it's like you're in my head and we are so similar, and it just,
yeah,
yeah. Then you're not alone.
no, not in the slightest. And ever since I started writing on Instagram, that's been such a great outlet for me. But it's now something that I know that I I have to do because so many people relate.
Yeah,
And so many people need that sense of community while we're trying to recover. I didn't think
absolutely.
I would get that many people telling me every day, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. That's the main thing again. I thought I was the only one. Because at some point, I thought I was the only one too.
Yep. So when you're having a moment of that internal BPD, how do you know that that is the BPD talking versus something else?
Oh, this is a great question. I know because I'll try and change my career within a week. I will try and change it so fast. Everything I'm doing is out the window, and I have to be um, anything, anything that I see that mildly interests me for a week straight. I will dive into,
Wow.
and then after that week, I will feel such a depression because it didn't work out. But after like a day or two, I realized, okay, that was your BPD. That was happening.
So have you acted on that before? Have you like changed your
Yeah,
career?
actually, yes, all the time,
Oh
all the
wow.
time. Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I I went through CNA school because I had it in my mind that I was going to be a nurse. My family really pushed that on me too, but at one point it was. I mean, this will sound funny to a lot of people outside of the BPD community or outside of any mental illness, but it's shows that I watch. When I watch shows, let's say Grey's Anatomy, I'm thinking, oh my god, this is it. Like, I found my passion. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do right there. I'm gonna work in a hospital. I'm gonna become a doctor. I'm gonna become a nurse first, and a doctor. I will have a fully detailed, laid out plan. And there have been so many times, let me tell you, that I have actually applied to colleges in that same week, and I will get in that same week.
Wow.
Yeah, everything is sped up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is a wild ride.
I think I'm kind of similar in the sense that I get bored super easily. So I'm always doing something new. But
That's it right there.
yeah, I've never
Yeah.
gone as far as like changing my career, but in other things I'm always doing something new. I can't just sit still ever.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to
I can't sit still with something either.
Yeah, I can barely sit still long enough to watch a movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, oh my god, thank you for saying that, because I tell people all the time, I can't watch movies.
Yeah.
I cannot watch movies. But a lot of times it's dangerous for me to watch a movie because you don't realize you're sitting there for 2 hours, and somebody with BPD could really absorb the personality of whichever character that they like, which I have done. And I will watch the movie over and over and over again and just adapt it. I think what also showed me that it was BPD was when I realized my favorite people would be celebrities. I don't follow celebrity news in the slightest, but if I have a favorite person that is a celebrity, I will become so obsessive. And it sucks because I feel like I have no control over it. I mean, I will get on Pinterest and make Pinterest boards of their outfits. I will go on YouTube and watch interviews, um, and like learn them. It's really scary when that happens because I feel like I don't have a lot of control over myself.
Yeah. Okay, I want to kind of rapid fire some BPD specific kind of characteristics, and I want to see if you kind of experience the same thing that I do.
Okay.
I'm super curious. Okay, when you're in like a room full of people, it could be friends or family, people that you're close to, do you ever feel like completely alone, even though you're surrounded by people who love you? Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I do a lot, and I can't be in a large group a lot anymore unless and everybody calls it the God complex, but I call it the goddess complex because why not? When I'm in my goddess complex, I can be around the whole group, but it still kind of feels like I'm not there.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like I'm there, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're in this room full of people that care about you and want you there, but you feel like you have nobody to talk to and nobody really wants you there, so you're kind of like all alone.
Yeah. Or it's not the right time to bring up that I'm not feeling too well.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to ruin what's happening or all that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel that a lot.
Yeah, that's hard to explain to people that don't feel it, but yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense because when you start to feel it, it's like, I don't know if you feel this too. I feel everybody's energy in the room. I just feel everything all at once, and it just becomes too much.
Mm-hmm. I think I kind of convince myself that nobody really wants me there for some reason, and that I'm just so out of place and I don't belong there, even though it's people that.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's people that you've known forever, people who absolutely love you.
Yeah.
And care for you. I feel that too.
Yeah. Okay. What about kind of feeling emotionless? or empty or just numb and feeling nothing sometimes.
Yeah. I think when I come out of that, that week of trying to find myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I come out of that week, I think that's when it hits the hardest.
Yeah. Even just losing, I feel like I lose a sense of empathy sometimes when you hear about a tragic situation or something, and I just don't feel anything towards it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that we don't care, it's just we can't right now, we can't feel what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really hard.
Yeah.
Okay, we kind of talked about when it just all of a sudden hits you like a ton of bricks and you can't even get out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll have that happen sometimes when I right when I wake up.
Yeah.
And it's like I haven't even started my day, you know. And already I feel like I can't get out of bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't know why it happens like first thing in the morning, but it also hits me like in the middle of the day sometimes. Like I'll have a great morning and then like after lunch or something, it'll hit me and I'm like, okay, I need to go lay down and do absolutely nothing.
I love that you said that because I think there's just a time limit for me too where I can be somewhat okay before that hits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how that works. There's no timing. It just happens.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes it could be 3 hours, sometimes it could be 6 hours. When it hits, though, it hits.
Yeah. I think as I am understanding more and more like what's happening to me, what helps me through all my coping mechanisms and stuff like that. Those moments happen to me less frequently, but I remember I want to say a couple months ago, I had such a great morning. I had lunch and then all of a sudden it hit me and I remember laying in bed and just staring like at the ceiling for like 6 hours and doing absolutely nothing because I had no energy to even move.
Wow.
What
I've
about
been there. I
yeah.
have been there. You are not alone.
What about okay, for me, being around other people boosts my mood. Feeling like somebody wants me around, it makes everything better. But at the same time, when I'm in one of those slumps, I just want to be alone.
Yeah,
Even though I know that I kind of need other people. So it's kind of like
yeah.
self-sabotage.
It definitely is. I feel you there because when I want to be out and around people, I don't want them to necessarily know me. I just want to be out
Yeah.
because most of the time I want to be alone because it's just too much going on when I'm around other people.
Yeah.
You know, because I could split on myself at any moment. So when I'm walking, that's why I love visiting any downtown area, especially like places like downtown Seattle, because you just get lost in wherever you're at. You can walk wherever, and it's like nobody actually. No, I like that nobody wants to get to know me in that moment because in
Oh
those
yeah.
moments I don't even know me sometimes.
Oh, I like
But
that.
I know I need to be around other people that are breathing. I need
Yeah.
to hear another heartbeat.
Yeah. I also get like wanting to be alone, but then you kind of secretly hope that somebody will reach out and just like magically know that you need somebody in that moment,
Yeah, yeah.
even though it's not how it works,
Oh my
but
gosh, yeah.
yeah, that's why I
Yeah, and most of the times it's with a romantic relationship. That's from my experience. You know,
yes.
I did that very heavy with my ex, but I'm like coming to find out now that I think my ex was my favorite person, and so I had a really unhealthy attachment.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I think that's why I'm such a huge supporter of just reaching out to people. If they pop into your head or you're thinking about them, just sending them a message to say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you," or just say hi or like check in. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And for people like us, if somebody sends me a message like that is amazing for me.
Oh yeah, it lightens up my whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to do it fast too, or I'll forget just as fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that my brain moves so quickly that I forget things so easily. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
Yeah, I just
That
jump
definitely
all over the
happens to me.
place.
Yeah, because I mean, it's funny. Like anybody could tell me, hey, can you go? For example, hey, can you go get me that pen? And I'll be like, yeah, I will walk in the direction of the pen, and I will stand there, and I'll forget exactly what I was doing.
Yes. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I get that. Like when I'm trying to fall asleep, my brain is just jumping all over the place, thinking about everything.
Yeah.
And so
sleep for me is hard.
Yeah, I can be exhausted and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for bed. But then as soon as I get into bed, I can't fall asleep because I'm just thinking about everything and I can't stop it.
Yeah, oh my God, yes. I go through that so often. And it's good. I mean, I hate that you go through it too, but it's good to know that somebody else actually experiences that.
Yeah.
Because it sucks. Because, you look up and you're like, I'm going to go to sleep at like 10. I'm going to do it. And then you look up, it's 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And you don't know how the hell you did that.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. It took me a while to kind of realize the characteristics that are related to BPD and that are not normal for other people. It took me a very long time to realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned intrusive thoughts before, which I get all the time. I can be just driving and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what would happen if I like cross the center line into the other traffic? Or what if I just like rear-ended this car in front of me? Or I just want to like break stuff and see what happens, or like pull a fire alarm and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where that comes from, but they just pop into my head all the time.
It happens. It happens so fast too. And 2 examples. My first one being when I was in 6th grade. I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna ride on this desk. And I just in the middle of my teacher talking, I was just drawing on the desk.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why. And my teacher pulled me out of the room and she was furious. She was like, and I was like, well, because I didn't know. Until you said something, I honestly didn't know I acted on it.
Yeah.
And another example being, this is why I don't have my license yet, because of those intrusive thoughts, and also I'll disassociate in the middle of the road. I'll have those blackouts in the middle of the road, and it's very dangerous. It is very dangerous for me. I definitely want to learn how to drive, but I think I need to be in a more of a walkable city again.
Yeah.
Because of that. Because it's I don't think people really understand that BPD can really make you do things like that. Can make you black out. Can make you out of touch with reality. A lot of times.
Yeah. That's crazy that you brought up drawing on the desk. That just brought back memories for me of taking a Sharpie and drawing on the bricks on the outside of my elementary school when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing.
Wow. Yeah, see, I love that we have these open and honest discussions, because things like that happen, we start to realize a lot more and feel less alone, because these things really do happen with people with BPD like us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's important to talk about it, because at least somebody won't feel alone, and it lets somebody else know, hey, I also have experienced the same thing too.
Yeah, I really hope that other people listening that maybe have BPD or understand or can relate to what we've gone through, like definitely don't feel so alone.
Yeah, I hope that they can look at those experiences and not try and attack themselves for it, because another thing that comes with BPD that I found out was a part of BPD is extreme shame and guilt.
Yep.
That is one thing I have struggled with for so long.
Yeah, I have too. I feel like a huge burden a lot of the time to the people around me.
Yeah.
Even if I know that they care about me.
And even though you know that you're not, you still feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I just never want to. That's the thing. When I'm having like a bad mental health day, I don't really want to reach out to somebody because I feel like I'm such a burden to them by putting this on them. But at the same time, you need to talk it out with somebody.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I definitely feel you there.
Okay, one more that I had written down is a changing sense of self or self-worth or self-confidence. Like I will go from being so confident in myself, feeling like on top of the world, to just shitting on myself. I don't know if you get that, but the way that I feel about myself changes all the time.
Oh, God, yeah. That happens all the time for me.
Yeah. There's so many, but I mean, those are just a few. Was there any other like specific ones that you or that come to mind for you?
That is a really good question because there's so much, but I'm trying to name a few.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really weird because everybody's BPD is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's. I think the biggest thing for me is whenever I'm going through that career change.
Yeah.
I think what it has to do is it's not only boredom, it's extreme emptiness.
Yeah.
It is extreme emptiness that if I am not if I am not in a career, like within a week, if I don't have my doctorate within a week, what the fuck am I doing? Right? It's like, that's not possible. Like,
yeah.
That is not possible at all. Like, where do these things come from? But then I think a lot of people don't really understand that, when we're talking about the differences between bipolar and BPD, BPD is stress induced. BPD is really stress induced from multiple traumas, which is what I have gone through pretty much my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you zone out, do you can you see your surroundings?
No. Mm-mm.
I can't either.
No, not at all. I don't really know. No, my mind and my imagination kind of goes to wherever I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know where I am.
Yeah, like it's good to hear you say that because that happens to me frequently.
Yeah.
Like I just can't see where I am. It sounds weird, but it definitely does happen.
I've never really called it zoning out, but that's probably a better way to put it. I guess I daydream a lot. And so
Okay,
I'll be sitting there and I'll be like in this totally different place thinking about something that maybe didn't happen, but like it's like a dream when you're awake. And I'm just like in this whole other world.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know it's definitely disassociation too, but sometimes I think I will zone out so bad.
Yeah. Wow, this is so crazy.
The similarities are wild.
Yeah. Like I know that
wild in a good way.
It's different for everyone, but yeah, there's some things that are very similar.
Yeah.
Which is very comforting.
Yeah. It is so comforting. It is so comforting.
Yeah.
Because if you try and explain this to anybody else that doesn't have BPD, kind of look at you really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, well, you asked, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard for people to process when they can't really understand how it feels. I'm curious about your coping mechanisms. Like obviously everybody's characteristics and situation is different. So I'm curious, like, what has helped you through it?
Oh, that's a great question. Definitely writing. Definitely writing
Yeah.
on Instagram and just writing in general. And talking with, like you and everybody a part of our community that is following me and that reaches out, or I'll just reach out to them and just talking.
Yeah.
Just talking to them. Talking to somebody that gets it. And then aside from that, I think another big coping mechanism with me, it's kind of like I'm walking on a thin wire with this one, but I'll go on TikTok and I'll look up BPD TikToks.
Oh, interesting.
I will look and try and see everybody that has experienced it, because it makes me feel less alone. But I have to be careful because sometimes those things can trigger me. Like I can be on. It's not just TikTok. I'll go on Pinterest and Tumblr and I'll type in BPD. Just anything under any type of hashtag with BPD that I can find, and just read people's experiences, and like even reaching out and talking to some people sometimes. On Reddit too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, Reddit is a pretty awesome place. You can't get lost in Reddit though, but yeah. It's pretty cool.
I can see how that would help though. Just talking to people that also understand what you're going through and not feeling so alone. Yeah, that would be huge.
Yeah, and I want to say reading books, but it's hard for me to pick up a book and read it a lot of times because I will start thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Immediately, I'll start thinking about something else. The words become blurry. I can look at
Yep.
one page for 5 minutes and not know what I've been reading. So
Oh my
I want to say
goodness.
reading, but I can't.
I do the exact same thing. I can't read because I can read a whole page and be thinking about something else and have no clue what I just read. So then I have to go back and reread like multiple times until I actually am able to focus on what I'm reading because I just zone out so much.
Yeah, it's and like I was really good at reading when I was, throughout school. I was really good at reading and writing. That was like my top language arts was like my top thing.
Mm-hmm.
But even back then, I would realize I would have to reread so much and I would overly take notes because if I didn't, I would not know what I just read.
Yeah, I do too. Have your coping mechanisms changed as you yourself have changed, like over time?
Yeah, they have. They definitely have because I've noticed what's unhealthy and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm in a downtown area, I know that I should not go into a bar. I know that I should not go into my favorite stores because I will impulsively buy everything. So I have to just go with like one intention, and it's just walk. It's
Yeah.
just to walk, and also to buy like maybe one beverage like a hot chocolate or something like that, or juice or something, and just walk with that.
Mm. Yes, I love that you said that. Impulsive spending for me is huge.
But yeah, it is huge for me too.
Sometimes I just can't control it for some reason. And you just buy stuff that you don't even need.
Yeah, or you buy stuff for other people,
Yes. Oh, I
like
do that a
so
lot.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I will. If I'm not buying something for me, because I rarely buy anything for me, I noticed I buy a lot of things for other people in my life, impulsively too.
Yeah.
Like it is summertime right now. I wanted to impulsively buy a rain jacket because in Seattle it rains a lot and it's cold, and I wanted to buy him a really durable rain jacket. And I was so close to doing it, and what kind of popped me back into reality is he said, "Oh, it's summertime." So I was like, "Wow, okay, that was my BPD talking." So then I'll buy you one for Christmas when it's appropriate. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Wow. Yeah. I'll buy things for other people and then I'm like, why am I buying this now? But then I kind of rationalize it and I'm like, oh, I'll keep this for Christmas or their birthday or whatever, and then I just have shit in my house for so long.
Yeah. There's just so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible on my end too. Like, it is a lot. It is a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Or, what's worse is that I will tell people that I'm going to buy so many things for them, right? I'm sending you a box. I'm going to send you a box full of stuff. And I have it all in my cart. And then all of a sudden, I will disassociate and not know where the hell I'm at and forget that I was even doing that in the first place. And I've had to apologize to so many people in my life. Like, hey, I don't know why I did that. Like, you will have a box, but I don't know why I just did that.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, it is really interesting. It's just like, wow, okay, damn.
So now that you kind of understand more of what you're going through and looking back over your whole journey, is there any advice that you would give to your younger self, or any advice that you wish that somebody would have gave you when you were going through everything?
Yeah, I would have told myself to continue to stand my ground with the fact that I know something is wrong, but I don't have a name to it yet. I wish I stood my ground more on that because I've had a lot of people misdiagnose me. And that even though I have made mistakes, because I've made a lot of mistakes in a lot of relationships I've been, romantic or just friendship, where even I have, screwed people over, and I I did not know half of the time what I was doing.
Yeah.
I would tell myself to then take it slow and really kind of just try to be more aware of what you're doing, and that even though you hurt those people, you're going to be okay. You can't feel the shame and guilt forever. Own up to it more, because it's hard. It's hard when you, I don't know, kind of wake up and see all the destruction that you caused with BPD, because you didn't know that was it.
Yeah.
So I would probably tell myself to not feel so shameful and guilty, and keep that with me.
Yeah.
And that it's even though these things aren't normal, it's normal for somebody to be diagnosed with BPD if they have all the symptoms, and that it's okay.
I like that one. Okay, I want to talk about your Instagram page,
Okay.
which is called She's Got Quiet BPD. I
Yeah,
love it.
thank God that name was available.
I love it. You share just like little details about your journey and what happens to you on a daily basis, and I think so many people can relate to it. So I love it. I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And I love everything that you're doing with your podcast and your page. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
You're so welcome.
I'm wondering, like, what made you start that page in the first place?
I was in a low place when I started that page.
Yeah.
And I said, I know I just have to write. I want to encourage people. I want to uplift people. I want to create a space where people feel safe and that they don't feel judged. I wanted to create a space that I would hang out in.
Yeah.
To where if my BPD was acting up, I knew to go there. And so I started this page. I really didn't think anybody would read my writing. I didn't think anybody would read my posts. I just thought, okay, I'm on Instagram. I'm here. And so many people started hitting me up and saying thank you. It was definitely eye opening for me. It boosted my confidence in my writing again, because I know that I want to take it a step further, and just for as long as I'm breathing, I definitely want to keep helping people with my, or like even talking about it. I know one day I want to write some books about it, about my experiences with BPD and all that, because not a lot, what really triggered me in those few weeks of me having my Instagram was that I went to Barnes and Nobles, and I went to they have a really small mental health section. They have a very small mental health section. And I saw that there weren't a lot of books about BPD. There were just a lot of books. There were workbooks, yes, which is great that there are workbooks. But a lot of the books that were there for BPD were to help, like a family member or a spouse that has to help, that has a family member or, a partner with BPD. It was really to help them, which they need help too, that's fine. But I never saw anybody's like experience. And that was hard for me. That was really hard for me to see. And so I just took to Instagram even harder, and I was like, screw it. I mean, this right now will be my book. This will be my open book that people can. It's awesome that people can interact with, that people can see, and so they don't feel alone.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I can't wait for you to write a book too. That's gonna be amazing.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm trying to keep talking myself into it. I'm trying to continue to talk myself into it.
Yeah, I would totally
And
read
when
that
it
book.
drops, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. Yes, keep me posted.
Yeah, because there really aren't a lot.
Yeah.
I will. I sure will.
So do you have kind of like any goals for that page or where you want it to go? Or you're just gonna keep writing and just see where it takes you?
Yeah, I want it to. I actually want to really grow it out. I want it to reach as many people that it possibly can.
Yeah.
And for now, I really just want to make it my life's work. We don't know how many. It's scary thought. We don't know where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Right. Even without BPD, that this is something I want to do. This is something I want to pursue. This is because it's not like it's impossible. We have the power of the internet now. We have the power of the internet to reach anybody, anywhere. So I just want to keep writing on there. I want to drop books. But as far as my Instagram goes, my platforms online, I just want to reach as many people as I can because that means that I can help so many people.
Oh, I love that so much.
And if that makes me an Instagram writer, that makes me an Instagram writer. Hey, I mean, shit.
That's amazing. Okay, I have one last question for you that I ask everybody that comes on the podcast.
Okay.
Is there a stigma or a misconception surrounding mental health that bothers you the most or that you hear most often but isn't true?
Yeah, the main stigma that I absolutely hate is people think that we are just insane. Without even getting to know us, without even getting to know our mental illness, they think we're immediately insane and that we need to go be institutionalized as soon as possible. It's like, no, it's not the case. Like, all the time. But yeah, I feel like people need to have some more knowledge on a lot of mental illnesses, especially with BPD, because it's still a pretty fresh mental illness in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
Because it's not talked about as much, which I wish it was. But that's what we're doing with our platforms. We're also educating people so they can see what it's actually like. They don't have to rely on, just rely on word of mouth of what other people have said about it that don't even have it.
Okay, well, that is all the questions that I had for you. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up that we didn't touch on?
Yes. Actually, yes. You will notice in my TikTok videos, I sound different than what I sound like right now. And I think that has a lot to do with BPD. It's something I can't figure out, and I don't know if you go through it too. But my voice will change sometimes.
Oh,
and I don't know why.
I don't know if my voice changes. Maybe. But
yeah, it's weird.
I don't know. Like everybody has I don't know, like their phone voice and their like speaking voice and whatever. So I don't
Yeah.
But I don't know if I have like a different voice. I've never noticed, but that's so interesting.
Yeah, that was something that I noticed early on because I would try and understand why I sound different to so many people. And it's something I cannot control. I don't feel like I'm talking to anybody else. I don't feel like there's multiple people around me. I don't feel like I have multiple personalities. This will change. I'm the same person, but my voice will change. Very weird. Very weird.
Oh,
And
that's
I
kind of
don't know
cool.
why. Yeah, that kind of scares me that's what kind of scared me initially about doing TikTok, because I can see it right now. It's kind of freaky. I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's kind of crazy, but cool.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm gonna have to go look you up on TikTok now and see what your voice sounds like.
I'll definitely I'll send it to you, and you'll see the difference. Like, wow, okay.
Okay.
If anybody that's listening that has BPD goes through the same exact thing as me in that sense, you're definitely not alone. But I don't know why it happens. So
Wow.
hopefully we can figure it out one day.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Um, this has been so great to compare
Oh,
stories,
thank you.
and it's been amazing. Thank you so much for being so raw and open and just vulnerable with me.
Oh my goodness, thank you for being here. Thank you for providing me with a platform to stand on and share my story and speak my truth, and for us to not only help each other but help whoever is listening. And I'm a big fan of your podcast. I love this podcast so much.
Thank you so much. Ugh,
You're welcome. And I would love to be back whenever you would have me, because that's just how much I love it.
absolutely. I was just gonna say that. I definitely want to have you back. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to reach out at any time. You can contact me on Instagram and Facebook at Stomp the Stigma YYC, and you can email me at stompthestigmayyc@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. And if you or someone you know would like to come on, I would love to have you. Share your story, speak your truth, and together we can stomp the stigma.